Don't believe me? Okay, I'll prove it then. You know, I'm kind of tired of seeing sim racers gaining social media followers and collecting wristbands for some boring festival, aka modern racing games. I miss the days of real racing games. I'm talking Midnight Club, Need for Speed, Juiced. You know, the Y2K street racing arcade games. Back when you would trick out your vehicle with body kits, vinyls, underglow, nitrous and all that. Customization used to be at the heart of every good street racing game. Those games were also pretty edgy too. Nothing was more thrilling than being hunted down by the police in Most Wanted. Escaping through Rockport's water systems, it felt like I was on the movie set of Gone in 60 Seconds. Racing down the canyons in Carbon, it felt like I was playing with death itself. When I seen the trailer for Lead the Dragon, this upcoming street racing game inspired by Need for Speed Carbon, with the environmental takedowns, helicopters opening fire on the racers, the way they were drifting down that canyon like I did during the golden years of the Black Box era, I knew this game was special. Just like another game you saw on my thumbnail. Platformers, different styles of platformers with hack and slash gameplay and even third-person shooting mechanics. It was a genre that dominated the gaming industry, especially on the PS2 with games like Sly Cooper, Ratchet & Clank, Psychonauts, Ape Escape, Klonoa, Crash Bandicoot. The PS2, now that I think of it, actually had a better selection than Nintendo at the time. And don't worry, I didn't forget about Jak and Daxter, and Geargrit seems to wear its inspirations on its sleeves. So far, there's only a demo for this game right now, and I feel like I don't even have to explain this game. If you're a fan of Jak and Daxter, check this game out. I promise you'll be excited for this game too.
She's not Jackie. She's someone a little different.
Hell yeah!
We take our heroes with a little grit.
Just got done. Bring it back, I swear.
Geargrit.
Another game I'm excited for is Tormented Souls 2. And while I've been waiting, I've been sinking my teeth into the first game. Tormented Souls is one of the most hardcore survival horror game throwbacks I've played in a while. Maybe a little bit too hardcore. I probably should have been more stingy with my ammo and tapes, this game's version of ink ribbons, because I ran out of ammo in dire situations quite a few times thinking I was safe fighting every morbid creature I came across. If you love backtracking abandoned mansions until you know the routes like the back of your hand and solving cryptic puzzles while you try to survive by the skin of your teeth, in a backdrop so beautiful it would make Resi Zero's pre-rendered backgrounds blush. But if you like the first two games I mentioned, I got a platformer for you, and this one is fast, like really fast. Last month I played Sonic GT, this fan project developed by Not So Greedy, and it was so damn good I had to check and see if he had any other games. And what surprised me was he did, and this one was official this time. Rollin Rascal, a platformer so fast it runs laps around Sonic? Sign me the hell up. Now, as much as I love the instant gratification of the boost era, I miss the days of 2D Sonic where you had to earn your speed through momentum. But Rollin Rascal does something different. It merges both of those Sonic gameplay loops together, giving you an instant boost while also letting you earn even more speed with slopes. There's no gimmicks either, you're in control the whole time. Every jump pad, every loop-de-loop. Did I mention the levels are massive, by the way, with multiple branching paths? Because yeah, Rollin Rascal is a speedrunner's paradise, letting you practically break the game with optimal routes towards achieving that S rank. Now, if I'm gonna make a claim like indie games are reliving the best years in gaming, I gotta put my money where my mouth is. Just take a look at the timestamps. We got a shit ton of video games to talk about. One game I have a lot of nostalgia for is Jet Set Radio, and Bombrush Cyberfunk can be summed up in a few words: a true successor. If Sega never decided to touch Jet Set Radio again, there wasn't any kind of reboot in development, it was just dead, right? And Cyberfunk became a series, I'd be completely fine with that. There's indie games that try to mimic older titles, there's ones that try to take the gameplay loop and add a unique spin on it, and then there's the legendary ones that innovate on the formula so well they end up surpassing the original entirely. Cyberfunk is that type of legendary game. You know, the ones that get talked about for a decade along with the classics of a bygone era. What I thought was going to just be some mere imitation ended up becoming one of my favorites of all time. This isn't just some hidden gem, alright? No, Cyberfunk is a masterclass in chasing the fun and why I think AAA games are circling the drain, making way for the true games that will inherit the industry. Even if you're not a Jet Set fan, Bomb Rush is a 10 out of 10 experience. The music, the animations, the gameplay, the art style, fun factor, every single category it excels in. If there's one game you should go out and play, it's this one right here. Now, it's crazy that we have indie platformers like Geargrit and Rollin Rascal to look forward to, but here's one you can play right now as in it's fully released. Akimbot is this cool action platformer with third-person shooting. It also has a lighthearted story with silly dialogue and it takes place in space. And I think you know what type of game this is. Well, the developer already said what type of game he wanted to make. And he said he was a really huge fan of Ratchet & Clank. Akimbot is such a nostalgic throwback game. It even feels like how Ratchet & Clank played back on the PS2. I know I tend to go for games that take inspiration from older titles but add a unique twist to it, usually with their own gimmick or whatever. But it's literally more Ratchet & Clank. I can't even be mad at that. Man, blasting hordes of enemies, platforming challenges, and minigames brings me back to the good old days of when things were just simple. This game is dumb fun. I love how it has that protagonist-companion character duo too. Exy is this super serious character and Chipset is this comedic relief character. At first I kinda thought Chipset was kind of annoying and I was like, please don't be some cringe generic clone. But like 20 minutes in, I was like, man, this little drone reminds me of Claptrap from Borderlands. He genuinely gave me a few good laughs. Even though it's inspired by Ratchet & Clank, the character dynamic between these two kinda reminds me more of Jak and Daxter. And these are the games I used to live for back in the day on the PS2, those cartoony 3D action games with a little bit of edgy humor sprinkled in. If you miss those more simpler times where games didn't take themselves too seriously, this is definitely the game for you. Alright, this one's going to be a little negative. I was so excited for the prospect of playing a game inspired by SSX Tricky, but this one sadly did not land for me. And that's Tricky Madness. Man, I really wanted to like this game. It even has fun gameplay. But there's literally no content here and I paid money for this shit, okay? Only 3 playable characters. You can't even customize them? The story mode isn't available? Like, I understand that this game is in early access, but I've played demos with more content than this. I feel bad about shitting on small indie devs, but this game had no right charging money. So why is it on my list? Because I can see the potential of this game. It's actually fun to play, it's a homage to one of my favorite games. But you're out here charging money for a demo like this shit is Welcome Tour on the Switch too. Come on, man. You want to play a real demo? Go play Night Runners. This highway street racer in the style of Tokyo Extreme lets you have access to the entire prologue. And I've never seen a game with an illegal underground street racer aesthetic as cool as this one. Or what about The Big Catch? This game looks like a platformer I would have played on the GameCube with a mix between Mario Odyssey and Prince of Persia. It has a free demo that's bigger than most platformers' entire runtimes. But you're gonna charge me $8? For a game that has no unlockables and like 30 minutes of gameplay? I just refunded this game, man. I'm just gonna emulate Tricky on PCSX2. You know what other game is early access but actually does it right? With a crap ton of unlockables? XF Extreme Fomrula. And I do not regret buying this game. This is literally the F-Zero game of my dreams. This game is so damn fast. I felt like the inertia came out of my Steam Deck screen and slammed me into my recliner. Listen, I really love GX, but damn, I feel like Extreme Fomrula is starting to win me over. I'm kicking up sand, blazing through desert tracks. I'm jet streaming through water, racing through the vacuum of space, getting tunnel vision from the loops, and I don't know what's up or what's down. I need to go play GX again soon because honestly, I think Extreme Fomrula might be faster. At least the sense of speed feels faster than me. Holy shit, what a good game. It's made by the same person who made Spark the Electric Jester, which is actually another game that would fit right on this list too. Spark is just a solid-ass speed platformer. It reminds me a lot of Sonic Generations, just the feel of it, you know? I especially like the boss fights in Spark. It's not super mechanically deep, but chaining together light and heavy, specials and stuff, it even has a parry mechanic. I always felt like 3D Sonic kinda lacked in the boss department, feeling more like set pieces, but Spark has a decent amount of effort to make the boss fights more engaging. I'd recommend all 3 Spark games if you're a Sonic fan. Another game made by a studio that made a game I just mentioned is Pumpkin Jack. Same studio that made Akimbot. Like I said, I love those old 3D platforming games with hack and slash combat that you would have seen back on the PS2. The dialogue is hilarious, the pacing is perfect. There's so many different gameplay set pieces and mini games that break up the combat and platforming. It just kept me hooked the whole way through. And I love good game design when a game like this has so much variety that it can take a pretty bare bones combat system and put so much cool stuff in between it to keep it from being repetitive. That's the type of stuff I gush over in video games. The puzzles, the platforming, the boss fights, those short little set pieces where you're rolling on a minecart Donkey Kong style, and the outstanding soundtrack, like holy crap. These indie devs don't mess around. This is the type of game I think about when I think of the 3D platformers that we're gonna start seeing in the near future, and how much of a win it was for gamers when Astro Bot won Game of the Year. I would have still appreciated Balatro winning because it was an indie game, but I can't deny how important Astro Bot was for 3D platformers outside of, Nintendo and all that. Pumpkin Jack has been out for a while now, but I just think it's neat that 3D platformers are seeing a lot more attention than they have in the past decade. I know it doesn't get talked about as much as games like Yooka-Laylee or A Hat in Time, but Pumpkin Jack definitely deserves to be part of those indie darling 3D platformers. Okay, so there's a few games I'm personally excited for, but they're not out yet, like Lead the Dragon. We'll just call them radar games, alright? One game I seen a trailer for but looked really awesome, maybe worth wishlisting, is Kijutsu Rider. This game gives me beautiful Joe vibes mixed with Devil May Cry, and this is a game I'd categorize as character action. As much as I love the Souls games, I can't deny the burnout is real. We'll talk about that more in a minute. I feel like more character action games could help balance that out a little. Then we have Asuka the Ascent, and I'm really liking this anime style street racer. And it's kind of funny how we're seeing so many street racing arcade games making a comeback. Seriously, I don't just have this game wishlisted along with Lead the Dragon. I'm also pretty excited for Pico Drift because it reminds me a little bit of Midnight Club. And there's another game called Rev Up where you can hide from the police by parking your car to blend in with other vehicles. They all look like they're going for something unique too. It's what I've been missing for the past 20 years, and no, the new Need for Speed games don't count. Those games are hot garbage compared to what we used to get back in the 2000s. Or what about this game called Duskfade? I know it goes for more of a Pixar art style, but you can't tell me this game doesn't remind you of Kingdom Hearts. Even the sword swings remind me of the Keyblade. It really seems promising. And the last one, and I might be reaching here, but Mightreya, this anime superhero game, looks so 2000s to me. We had quite a few open world superhero games back in the day. And watching this character running around this empty city fighting monsters is like when I used to play the old Spider-Man games or Hulk Ultimate Destruction. Yeah, maybe I am reaching, but you have to admit this game looks really damn cool. Okay, what else do we have here? Oh, this one completely passed me by. Pray for the Gods looks like a mix between Horizon and Shadow of the Colossus. And I say passed me by because this game came out like, 4 years ago and I'm just hearing about it now? Either this game probably sucks or it's unfinished or something, because I think I would have caught wind of a game that, was like Shadow of Colossus. I thought about picking this one up, but I think the reason was it wasn't on GOG. I usually only go for Steam games if they're on deep discounts, because let's face it, we have too many games already. If I'm going to backlog a game I can't truly own, it's gotta at least be under $10, or it can just sit on my wish list. So yeah, all the games you see me playing here, I played them on the Steam Deck, but that doesn't mean I bought them on Steam. Seriously, do yourself a favor next time and just do a quick check and see if a game you want is on GOG. You can literally download backup offline installers. So if anything bad were to happen in the future, you aren't going to lose all of your games. Especially if you spent thousands of dollars building a library for the past 10 years. Like El Paso Elsewhere, I picked this one up on GOG. It's this really trippy Max Payne style game. And holy shit, dude, the voice acting in this game is Hollywood as hell. I expect this type of voice acting from Rockstar games. That's how good it was. And the gameplay is top notch. You got your bullet time, your matrix dive, destructible environments, and everything. At first, I wasn't a big fan of the extreme low poly look to it, but after playing this game, it is pure cinema. Like I said, these indie games are getting better than AAA at this point. They might not have the polish and realistic graphics as AAA turds, but most of them, they have better gameplay than AAA. El Paso Elsewhere is on another level when it comes to presentation. It knows where its roots are, sure, but at the same time, it knows what it wants to be.
I don't know why the void hasn't killed me outright. Maybe it doesn't want to. Maybe it can't. Either way, I'm going to make that a problem.
Okay, so I know this is pretty far down the list for a game I had in the thumbnail, but you know me, I have no direction when it comes to these videos outside of, hey, here's a shit ton of games. It's kind of my shtick at this point. I'm professional at being unprofessional. Anyways, Bug Fables is a game I slept on for years. A game I almost picked up, but holy shit, there were so many great games that were coming out at the time. Sekiro, Resi 2 Remake, Bloodstain, Metro Exodus, the Iceborne expansion for Worlds, Devil May Cry 5, Control. I just forgot about the little Paper Mario lookalike. I didn't know I was sleeping on a spiritual successor to one of the greatest RPG games ever made. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about the 1,000-Year Door. You might not see it at first glance, but Bug Fables really is that good. And look, I know I spend a lot of time on this channel talking up indie games, saying crap like, oh, this is why AAA sucks, but I'm not out here saying gaming in general sucks. You know those videos that talk about gaming is dead and there's always that one guy in the comment section saying something like, just play indies, bro? I guarantee that guy's a PC player, because coming from console, I wasn't even seeing a fraction of the games I see today. I was only seeing the ones that get really popular and bubble to the top. Your Hollow Knights, your Hades, your retro shooters like Dusk. You could be misled to believe most indies are Metroidvania, roguelites, and boomer shooters. Or those cozy rainbow-ass games for children that no kid actually wants to play, cause let's be honest, kids today want to sit on their tablets all day and play bullshit like Roblox. But that's not the case at all. Everything under the sun, there's an indie game for that. I was just playing this game called Hollow Body. It looks like a PS2 game. Like, these graphics are exactly what a lot of PS2 games looked like. It's like Silent Hill but set in the future with flying cars and shit. Reminds me a lot of Blade Runner. Even the camera, it'll rotate but also snap to certain areas. It's really dynamic. The voice acting sounds really good. But I will admit, I need to play more of this game. But channels like Boulder Punch and Avalanche Reviews gave this game a recommendation. And when it comes to survival horror, I trust these guys completely. These people aren't like the journalists that don't even play games. They actually love the genre they talk about. I'm a strong advocate for biased reviews. It's like when IGN reviewed Sparking Zero. I was like, shut the fuck up. Give me a Dragon Ball fan's opinion. I want to know what they think. Or here, how about a better example? When I heard what real fans of Silent Hill thought about the Silent Hill 2 remake, I knew not to pick this one up. Because it was made for new fans that have never touched a Silent Hill game, and not the actual fans that bought those games and made them the legends they are today. So yeah, that's my excuse on why I don't have enough playtime in this game, but I'm still confident enough to show it off to you guys. Aragami is this sick-ass Tenchu style stealth game, where you not only stalk from the shadows, you are the shadows. I can't tell you how cool it is to conjure up the shadows or teleport between them, picking off guards one by one. It's kind of like the newer Assassin's Creed games if they were actually good and not the size of a goddamn country. And look at this character design too. Just makes me feel like a badass at all times. We really don't get enough stealth games inside AAA. And the ones that do have stealth mechanics, they're just mere imitations of what we used to get back in the day. I swear, man, I hate that waist-high murder grass bullshit with a bunch of brain-dead enemy AI that you can lure into the grass one after another. It's such a disgrace to the stealth genre. That's why when we get a game like Aragami, I practically shit my pants with excitement because of all the garbage stealth mechanics we have today. My only nitpick with Aragami so far is I wish there were more blood fountains when I assassinate enemies. Seriously, if you're gonna be inspired by Tenchu, I need fetish levels of blood fountains. I'm talking, I better be getting rained on with blood if you're trying to go for Tenchu. Otherwise, I love this game, man. I would highly recommend it. Okay, so Helskate is a game I had to include on this list. Because to me, it has the soul of what I remember 2000s gaming being. That fun, kind of weird, kind of experimental game that we don't really see a lot of these days with AAA. Helskate is a mix between Tony Hawk's Underground and Devil May Cry. And if you have played this game, you're probably wondering, like, what the hell am I talking about Devil May Cry? You don't even pull off sick combos. You just have your sword swings and your special abilities on cooldowns and stuff. But it's not Devil May Cry in its combat mechanics. It's Devil May Cry with its skateboarding mechanics. Devil May Cry wasn't just about pulling off cool-ass combos like a fighting game. That's not what character action games were about. Any game can have combo fighting systems, but if you want to be a character action game, you need to look stylish while pulling off those combos, or you're just a regular old hack and slash. The way you can chain together combos with your skateboard in Helskate, intertwining them with hack and slash, makes this one of the coolest character action games I've seen in recent years. The caveat being that this is a roguelite game, which I normally try to stay away from for the most part, but in Helskate there's heavy emphasis on looking stylish. I feel like the reason I don't jive well with roguelites is because I hate starting over and over again and losing my progress. It's because roguelites don't emphasize player skill as much as I'd want them to. You see, in a roguelite, you can sometimes feel cheated, and at the same time when you win, you can feel like it wasn't earned. The one thing I can't stand when I beat a hard boss in a game or something is when I don't feel like I earned it through skill. And Helskate has a lot of depth in its gameplay, making me feel like I'm actually getting better at the game through looking stylish rather than its combat mechanics. This is why it's one of the very few roguelites I actually enjoy. And if you're a fan of just straight up over the top arcade style games or skating games for that matter, Helskate is one of a kind. Okay, some people are gonna tell me I'm reaching with this one because Another Crab's Treasure is a Souls-like. And I just talked about how Souls-likes are getting exhausting. Let's face it, we're oversaturated with them these days. And don't get me wrong, I love Souls games, but when you played over 100 of them practically, it can get exhausting. Especially when they prioritize being as difficult as possible. Like, come on, man. Not everybody getting into the genre for the first time is speedrunning Dark Souls at Soul Level 1 with a broken straight sword. Some of these game developers act like the Souls genre is only about being difficult. And yeah, Another Crab's Treasure is definitely a very challenging game, but it's also one of the better 3D platformers I've played in a while. Plus it has difficulty settings too, so you could pull your hair out like me fighting the same boss 15 times in a row. I'm stubborn, that's why. I refuse to play on anything less than intended. When a game beats my ass, I take that shit personally, okay? Or you could just adjust the difficulty and play it as a 3D platforming action-adventure game. And because I'm trying to redeem myself from that one time I made a video on why gamers are pussies these days and can't handle a challenge, you see, I do listen to feedback after all. Mostly because I got ratioed and called a gatekeeper by the majority of my audience. Doesn't change the fact I think you're all pussies for playing games on easy, but at least I'm being considerate, which has to count for something, right? Anyways, Another Crab's Treasure is one of the best indie games to release in the past few years, and it deserves a spot on my list. But that's it for me. What do you think about indie games replicating the early and mid 2000s? Let me know down in the comments.